All right, Mopar people, welcome back to the channel. I'm just Mopar Joe. Today we're on part 3 of the Notchback Barracuda restoration for my buddy Darren at Blake's Muscle Car. So there's a lot going on with this car, and a lot of people would be overwhelmed by this project. I don't really think it's a big deal. I have walked around and looked at it from 20 different angles. So if you ever see a body man, which I'm not self-proclaimed to be one, but if you ever see a body man walking around looking, they're kind of studying on how do we eat this elephant. So instead of me just jumping right into it, I called my mentor and I sent him a picture of this. And he said, I have no idea in the world what they did to this quarter panel to make it look like that. Someone has done some filler work on it before, and step one, I'm going to get this filler work done. We had talked about I could go ahead and strip the car down, go totally to bare metal, which I am, and then do my direct metal primer, come back and block that, then fix my areas. He said, or you could use the stuff that's on there, start blocking. When you come up to an area like this that definitely needs fixed, stop and fix it. So this needs to be all ground out of here. I'm going to be careful about it. My Eastwood Contour SCT does a nice job. It's not making the metal really thin. It's not heating it up. It's not making it wavy. But it'll knock all that stuff off there before I actually wipe the whole panel. So I need to see, how deep is this dent? How deep is your love in this dent? And it's easy access. It's right inside the taillight hole here. So I could push it out. I'm pretty sure there's no hole or anything on the back side. So what I'm gonna do, because body work is hurry up and wait, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing stripped down. We'll keep pushing forward. I do still have, remember my little rust spots I showed you, like that. If those don't go away, they gotta be treated. And I have some SEM's rust mort to put on them before the filler goes on, if I can't get rid of them. So stay tuned, and we're going to work now. Now, I can stop and reevaluate everything. Lots and lots and lots of good things about this car. I promise there's not a nicer car in the world to repaint right now. Well, there may be somewhere, but anyway. Where's the rust? Let me get you in here. There's no rust. The little stuff like that, remember, we got to treat that. But there's no pitted holes anywhere. And I am going to go ahead and grind this down too. I've been careful with this stuff. If I can show you. My red Rolock, it's mostly taking the coating off is what we want. So up through here, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little bit of a wonky dent somewhere. And it's one of those that basically impossible to try to knock out. I could tap around on it some. We're low here, low, low, low. low through there. So I believe what's going to happen, just got lots of little nicks. And the depth of that, if I can get a paint stick out, I'll show you. I think it's next to nothing. I mean, this is my bigger issues would be that one. You can see here, if you can see its depth or not. And there's a little crease of a line right here of a dent. One there, a little crease here. The beauty of this one is I can get behind here and probably push it out with a little spoon. And that dude, if I go to the inside, it's just on the edge of our factory coating. And I really don't want to beat around on the factory coating too much. It just looks so nice in the trunk because it's only going to be original one time. And I'm keeping, that is the theme of my restoration on this. My spot here, dented in, pushed out. Easy, I can get to the back side of it. I want to hammer and dolly around this and make it as nice as I possibly can. Not because it's the right thing to do, but also when that bumper bolts on, if there's a bunch of filler stacked here, it's just going to pop the filler. So I want virtually zero filler here when I'm done. I took my wire wheel and I got through my seam here. It all looks good. I got to get a little bit more of that out before it ever gets sealed again. But I'm not going to drill and separate this panel to try to get every bit of that old stuff out. I can dig most of it out with a really fine blade. This little spot right there is almost a hole. It's not. It's mostly staining, and I did not touch it with any, with a, like my 40 grit roll lock. I didn't touch it with that. I am going to take a sharp point of some kind, see if it's actually, if I can push through it. I don't think I'll be able to, and if I can't, then I can treat that just like I treat everything else. There's a few, you know, just a little small little places with my rust mort. So all that's going to be perfect. I want to lay down here and show you what the bottom side of this looks. I did have to get a lot of his old rubber and stuff off, but we just have some staining. There's no rust holes in the bottom of this 1968 Barracuda. Frame needs a good washing. Looks like it's been mud riding before, and I know what it was. I think their yard is probably was so bad from those recent storms and stuff. Maybe spun out, I don't know. But anyway, there's no rust. There's no rust. There's no rust. The only dents, I would say the only dents from here down is this little dude, and there's a little tiny one right there. They would almost block out. You can see my finger's reflection there. They would almost block out with primer, but I'll put a little baby bit of filler over them after I do my wipe down and kill all those little rust spots. My next step, I think, is go ahead and knock that. Try to get that to be perfect and fix my little crease and my one little ding right there. I feel pretty good about that. I had a little bit of a dent outward here, and you can see where it just looks like it's pushed in a little bit there or whatever. it's to the point of diminishing return. I can try to keep playing with this for another hour, but it's nice, straight, smooth. It has the nice squared off section where bumper bracket goes. Majority of that's covered anyway, but I'm going to put just a little bit of probably glazing putty around this. And the majority is going to get sanded off, so it's all looking wonderful. I'll get up and get this one pushed out now and keep pushing. I'm going to say we are 85% better. I got my big boy knocked out, and my big crease line is much better. It kind of interferes with the inner bracket there. I think there was a little bit of attempted, you can see, yeah, that scratched up stuff there. Some of that was attempted before me, but I ground out old Bondo, so we knew that, but I think it's pretty nice now. Feels good. It's got a little bit of a few small highs and lows, but they're in that situation. I'm still thinking it'll be less than a 32nd of filler, and I know the camera is not going to lie. It's there. Let me play with it a little bit more and I'll be back. Let's scare some people. Well, here's my Bondo buggy. Most of this is coming off. The majority of people out there do understand that. My major area was back here anyway, but I had all these little spots through here. Anything that looked to me to be like just a faint little rust spot, I got my 80 grit disc and I made it go away. So I didn't even have to treat that part with the rust mort. I am going to do the bottom because there's too many down there to even try to make go away. What I have to knock this down is the good old Mud Hog. This is a Nico. I didn't borrow this one from DD Speed Shop's dad, whatever his name was. Larry or Roy or something or other. Let me knock this stuff down and we'll come back and you can see what we're up against. I knocked the top off with our old big sander. That's looking pretty good. But I put a little guide coat on. Again, the majority of this is going away, so don't worry about it. To me, it's easier to spread a large portion instead of trying to go through and hit every one. Then I'd prime it and go to block, and I would cut through in 100 places. So right now, I got my fan blowing. I'm set up to sand. I got my respirator on, or I'm about to. And I'm gonna finish knocking this down until I can see where it starts to get metal coming through like that. I like that. That looks good. So continuing on, and I want to get the majority of this lumpiness out. I can feel just a little bit still through here, and our filler is helping take care of the little tiny imperfections that we couldn't get out with the hammer and dolly. Well, here we are. I have not touched this with a sanding block. I've only got it into the, I just shot a little primer on it right now, but I've only shaped with the two DAs. You still see I got a few little pinholes. That one's probably my fault from playing around with my scraper, but the washboard effect is 99.9% gone. And this was the largest issue with this entire car. So I'm pretty proud of that. I can put my name on it. It's still going to get, I'm going to run over and sand all this off pretty soon. It still needs 2 coats of the DTM primer after I sand all this off again. And then I can block it. And then if anything, I can have a little spot putty and that sort of stuff. Maybe a little spot putty around my hole there. And my 2 little dents that were down here, they're so fine that I could probably spot putty those also. So I'm gonna leave it like this for the day. I'd call that a day's worth of work. And there's plenty left to do. So I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll catch you next time. All right, Mopar people.